So, good morning. Another video about the Nikon Z5 because I've been asked by several people various aspects about the autofocus. There seems to be this, to me it's a myth, that the Nikon Z cameras have autofocus which is not as good as the Sony, Fuji, Nikon DSLRs and Canon and so on. And the more I get to use this and compare it to my D780, when I bought this, what are we now, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I intended it to be a second camera to my D780 for weddings. The moment I got it and played with it for a couple of hours, it elevated itself to being an equal partner to the D780. I've now used this at three weddings and a couple of family shoots and a boudoir shoot, and it's now my main camera because it's so easy to use. I do love the EVF, I have to say. Before I got this, I was thinking back to the Sony EVF, which was okay, but I definitely think the EVF on this is better than the Sony A7iii III. And the autofocus, it's just, I think it's better than the D780. I've used the Sony A7iii III for 2 years. I shot just over 60,000 shots with that at 30 weddings and family shoots and all the other stuff. So I got to know it pretty well, and I can't do a side-by-side comparison, but I'm telling you, this is as good as the A7iii III any day. And in fact, I prefer the way this works to the way the Sony worked. And yet still people are doing videos about the Z series of cameras saying that they've got some ground to make up. I don't think so. I really have no problem with this. They're saying that low light AF isn't as good. I've had someone write into me saying, could I do a video looking at the low light AF, and we're going to do that very shortly. And they're saying that the tracking isn't very good, and the face detect isn't. I don't get it. I actually think some of these people are doing these videos just to get attention, just to get likes and watches and views and that kind of thing, because they're just being controversial. It's a brilliant camera. Right, so what we'll do is I'm going to pop this on the tripod. I'm going to I'll do a few shots and I'll show you the AF in normal light. This is indoors. I have no artificial light. I've just got this window here, and I'll show you what the AF does. Okay, I'm then going to drop the blind, so we're going to have basically no natural light whatsoever, which I've just got my 2 computer screens here. That's the only light we're going to have in this room, and we'll look at the comparison to what the AF does in those sort of conditions. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's do this. So what I've got, you're looking at the back screen obviously of my Nikon Z5. I've got this set to AFC, wide area, and I've got face detect turned on. Basically using aperture priority, where the lowest shutter speed is set to a 1/60th of a second. I'm using a 50mm at 1.8 G lens. The ISO is on auto, and it will go up to a maximum of 25,600. Okay, so we've got, as you can see, I've got my model Steve in front of me, and as you can see, it's already picked up his eye and his face, and as you would expect, it tracks that. It tracks that all over the place, no problem whatsoever. It switches between face detect and eye autofocus because we're just at the point where we're close enough with this lens to pick up the eye and focus on that. If I put my 85 lens on, it would be IAF all the time, or if I got closer. So as you can see, we've got no problems focusing on the face and eye at all. One of the other issues that people have mentioned is the tracking, and by that I presume they're meaning if you push the OK button we got the center box comes up. You can put the center box on an object, hit focus, and it will track that thing wherever you put it. I don't think there's any argument that that's tracking my little speakers over on the corner of my desk there. It works brilliantly. And then back to IAF. Perfect. So that's in normal light. As you can see, I mean, I say normal light. It's even this is fairly dark. We're at 1/60th of a second and 4000 ISO. So it's not exactly bright in here, but it's still working brilliantly. Let me now close the blind. And I'm assuming when I get back to the camera here, yep, it's gone very dark out there. And ISO has jumped up to 25,600. We're still at 1/60th of a second, and we're still picking up his face. Okay, so we're tracking that. If I do the center box, back button focus, lock on, it tracks that. I mean, certainly good enough for all the work I do. I mean, I don't do nighttime sports or anything like that. First dance at a wedding is the most challenging low light AF situation that I'll get. But how much better do you want it, guys? I mean, I don't understand what people are saying. Someone did ask a slightly strange question. I'll try and answer that. They were having problems with low light AF using AFC and small spot. I presume they mean that. Now, small spot, of course, won't track. If I put it on wherever the box is, it's going to focus on that. So, and the question was, they're tracking using AFC and small spot isn't very good. Well, it won't track with small spot. It's as simple as that. If you want tracking, then you need wide area, so that you've got face detect. Excuse me. So you've got face detect on. If you want tracking, or you've got the center button, the OK button will give you the center box, and then you can use that to track. If you're using small area, as I say, it's basically pointless to use AFC, because it will just focus and that's it. It won't track. It will focus on whatever that little box has to focus on. If you want tracking, then you need to switch out of the smallest area, use wide area, the whole screen, and use the OK button to get the box up, which, as you can see here, works perfectly. Now, we do have low light autofocus, and that's turned off at the moment. As you can see, it was working perfectly well without that turned on. I haven't yet had a situation where I've even tried this, but let's see what this does to it. And as you can see, we're still at 25,600 ISO, so it's very dark in here. Well, that the eye and the face detect seems perfect. If I put the center box on, if I focus on my little speaker over there, and you really can't say there's any problem with the tracking, for goodness sake. So that's my view of why I love the Z5, why it's become my main camera over and above my D780. If you've got any issues, if you've got any thoughts about the autofocus or any other aspect of the Z5, just do get back to me, and I'll happily do a little test and maybe another video. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found that helpful. Cheers.